If you really listen, you can almost hear a nation reinventing itself. It's the sound of construction, sure, but it's also the sound of ambition. This is the story of a modern giant, L&T. But trust me, it's probably not the one you think you know. See, it's a story about two powerful engines, one that everyone sees, and another, well, that one's quietly changing everything.
And what you're seeing right here, this is happening all across India. It's more than just buildings and bridges. This is the actual physical foundation of a new economic era being laid down in real time.
And the sheer scale of this ambition? Well, it has a number. 102 trillion rupees. That's the mind-boggling investment number we're talking about here. All part of a huge government plan to totally overhaul the country's infrastructure.
So what's behind all this? It's a grand vision called the National Infrastructure Pipeline, or NIP for short. Just think of it as the master blueprint for building a modern India. It covers everything from energy and roads to ports and digital networks. It's the whole shebang.
Okay, so a blueprint is one thing, but who's actually out there building all this stuff? Well, that brings us to the master builder of this story, a name that's basically become synonymous with engineering in India, Larsen Toubro.
So when you see a brand new metro line cutting through a city, or a massive bridge connecting two places that were once far apart, or even the crazy complex engineering for a high-speed train, yeah, chances are L&T is the company on the ground making it all happen.
And the folks at the top are all in. The company's chairman, S.N. Subramanian, doesn't just see these as construction jobs. He calls them real change makers, projects that are fundamentally changing the country as we know it. So the story seems pretty simple, right? A nation is building like crazy, and its number one builder is thriving. But this is where things get really interesting. Because what if I told you the most powerful engine driving this industrial giant has nothing to do with concrete at all?
It really makes you wonder, is the future of L&T just more of the same? Just bigger bridges and more metro lines? Well, if you look at the numbers, they tell a completely different story.
Okay, look at this. On the left, that's the L&T we all think we know. The builders, the heavy machinery, the infrastructure. But look over to the right. While all that building is going on, it's the company's IT, technology, and financial services that have been quietly but powerfully becoming its new financial core.
And this chart, wow, this just lays it all out there. In the first half of fiscal year 2022, IT and tech services made up a whopping 45% of the company's profit before tax. That is nearly double what its famous infrastructure projects brought in. So yeah, the hidden engine is now the main engine.
And you gotta understand, this isn't happening by accident. It's a deliberate strategy. L&T has been intentionally becoming asset light. They're selling off huge capital-heavy things like power plants and roads. Why? To free up cash and pivot into businesses like tech services, which have way better profit margins.
All right, so what does this new direction actually look like? Let's take a peek at the company's next 5-year plan. It's all built on 4 new pillars that show you exactly where their head is at. So these are the new frontiers. First, they're cashing in on their huge land banks with realty. Second, they're jumping into the super high-tech world of semiconductors. Third, they're diving headfirst into the green energy revolution by making key components for green hydrogen. And fourth, they're not just building data centers, they're owning and operating them, the absolute backbone of the digital age.
And this isn't just talk, right? They're getting their hands dirty in tech. We're talking about developing over 400 different AI algorithms, launching their own education platform to train a new generation of engineers, and even starting an e-commerce site for small businesses. This is a total rewire of the company's DNA.
So what's the takeaway here? Is L&T just giving up on what made them famous? Not at all. It's not about abandoning their legacy. It's about using it to redefine what building even means in the 21st century. See, L&T's superpower has always been something called EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction. It's their unique ability to handle ridiculously complex projects, from just an idea all the way to a finished, working reality. And now they're taking that exact same project management playbook and applying it to these new tech ventures. They're using their old superpower to conquer new worlds.
And this, right here, this picture, sums it all up. The most important infrastructure of tomorrow might not be a bridge you can drive across. It might be the data centers that run our digital lives, or the green energy grids that will power our future. And L&T, they're building both.
Which leaves us with this one big, fascinating question. We've just seen how a 100-year-old giant, born from concrete and steel, is pivoting to a future of code and green energy. So how do you build for the next 100 years when the very definition of building is changing right before our eyes?